Good morning. I'm Don Schmidt, and I'm here with my co-host, Jenna Randar.
Good morning, everybody.
We also want to say hello to our guest today, Marlon Sloan, the park interpretive specialist at McAuthur-Burney Falls Memorial State Park up in beautiful Shasta County. Welcome, Marlon.
Hello. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Shasta County is fortunate to have 4 amazing California state parks in its vicinity. We have Castle Crag State Park, which you may have seen right off of I-5. Beautiful campground, great hiking. We have Shasta State Historic Park, which is just west of Redding. Ahjumawi Lava Spring State Park up near Fall River Mills, and our featured park today, which is McAuthur-Burney Falls Memorial State Park. And for brevity, I'm just going to refer to it as Burney Falls from here on out. And this park is easily accessible on Highway 89, northeast of Redding, and it features one of the most beautiful and unique waterfalls in North America, and includes a nice campground, family-friendly trails, and a visitor center with Lake Britton nearby.
And we are both big fans of McAuthur-Burney Memorial State Park, or Burney Falls. It is really such a beautiful park. And Marlon, we are very glad to have you with us here today to help explain about what makes this park so special and why it's become so popular. Now, to make our discussion a little easier today, like Jenna said, we're all just going to refer to it as Burney Falls and go from there. That way we don't tie ourselves up. Now, Marlon, I usually start our show with a fun fact for Jenna, but you're welcome and even encouraged to help her out, since this topic should be right up your alley. Now, since we're talking about waterfalls today, how many different California state parks feature waterfalls? And I'm thinking of more named waterfalls. And I'll say that it's less than I expected. So,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Okay. Well, Julia Pfeiffer Burns,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
McWay Falls there. Yeah.
McWay. Okay. We got Eagle at Vikings Home
At Emerald Bay. Yep.
or Emerald Bay. Yeah. Okay. Burney, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess we'll let that one go. Grover,
Yeah. Hot Creek at Grover.
Hot Creek at Grover.
Yeah. How about one in your backyard? A park we were talking about just a little earlier. Yeah. Okay. So like Humbug Creek at Malakoff. Yeah. There's Feather
I
Falls.
guess.
Yeah. Feather Falls is right in your backyard as well. So
Okay. So how many? What about Auburn? Anything at Auburn?
there's that too. So how many do you think, Marlon, that there might be total, or do you have any others that you can name?
Park that I used to visit a lot in the Bay Area, Mount Tam, has Cataract Falls.
See, there's one that I hadn't thought of. Yeah.
And Castle Crags has a Root Creek, which is a seasonal falls too. So that's a couple more. Let's see, there's like 283 odd parks. I'm going to say 10%, maybe 20 parks with waterfalls in them.
Yeah. Well, now this is according to Wikipedia. So, we'll see how honest that is. But according to that, there are actually 24 California state parks that feature at least one waterfall, even all the way down to Southern California. So
I know I'm racking my brain and I'm like, there's no state parks I go to specifically for waterfalls besides Burney.
yeah, I had completely forgot about Mount Tam. So, you mostly think of them along the Sierra Cascade, but also down in Santa Cruz Mountains and whatnot. So I don't know. I thought that was a very refreshing, fun fact.
Oh.
Now, if you have a particular park that you'd like us to feature, please let us know on our social media or our email at roguerangerradio@gmail.com.
All right, so let's get into it and let's talk about what makes Burney Falls such a special place in Northern California. Burney Falls has been in the news lately because of its popularity, but let's say that I'm a first-time visitor. I've never been. I know nothing about it other than there's a waterfall and I want to see it. I want to come to the falls. I understand because I've heard twitterings in the news that now I need a reservation, but I don't really know what that means. It's required, but not only for camping, but for day use now. Can you tell me more about that?
Certainly. Falls has gotten very, very popular in the past 5-6 years. We get about 250,000 people coming in, and the park was just not designed for that many visitors, that many feet walking in on the ground. So
Wait. 250,000 people a year at Burney?
Yes. Yeah,
That's
at least.
amazing.
Yeah.
Wait,
That's a lot.
Not to cut you off, when was the park built?
It was one of the first state parks. So
Yeah.
back in 1927, when the park system got started, we were on that charter. And then there was a custodian assigned to that park right away, and he started building the park then. So the park's celebrating its 100th anniversary next year, actually. So it's been around quite a long time.
It was
Okay,
part of
because I'm
that
just
first park bond, from the
yeah.
1920s that, Tahoe State Recreation Area, DL Bliss, those all came in.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I was just thinking infrastructure-wise, 250,000 people a year with such a small infrastructure. Okay. Anyways.
And there's also, there's no like huge forest or beach for everyone to spread out on. Everybody
No.
wants to get onto that 1 acre of
Mhm.
land not near the falls. So that is just a ton of feet, literally, on that ground.
Yeah.
And so we've been having some challenges meeting that demand. Lots of people parking off the road who, after we close the park, because the parking lots are full, then people start parking
Mhm.
off the
On
campus
the
and
highway.
then walking in. And that has been a real issue and a real challenge these past 5 or 6 years. So we started this year with a pilot day use reservation system in the state park system. So for Friday, Saturday, Sundays, and also holidays in the summertime, one has to have a reservation to come in. And that has truly helped the park. Not as many people can get in because we're not cramming so many people in. They're not cramming themselves so much. But it has also helped out with the parking on the highway as well. In another sense, there's far fewer cars parked there, which is fantastic because it's not very safe way to get into the
No.
park itself. And there's fewer people in the park itself, so there's much more space. It's just been a terrific thing for the park. Of course, we're having to turn a lot of people away, and that presents its own challenge, but it does
Yeah.
make the interior experience of the park much better for everybody. It's been a real success so far, and I'm hoping that we can continue that program.
That's really
So
great.
as an offshoot question, how does that work if someone's hiking on the PCT and they come through the park that way?
People walking into the park do not pay, they pay per vehicle.
Okay.
So PCT hikers don't have to pay to get into the park.
Okay.
Pacific Crest Trail, we'll just
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
Yeah,
are
because the
actually one of the big
PCT does follow.
stopovers for the PCT hikers. They send
Mhm.
themselves their supplies to the store, and so we're
Mhm.
just where they pick up their next route's supplies.
Mhm.
And we're about halfway between Mexico and Canada as well. So it's a nice little marker for us to be here. And
Yeah.
we see a lot of Pacific Crest Trail hikers here.
Yeah. Okay.
now, this is one of those facts that you never really know is true. I know that it's been quoted almost everywhere, at least in my research, that President Teddy Roosevelt once called Burney Falls the eighth wonder of the world. But did he really say that?
We cannot find any records of him actually saying eighth wonder of the world. We have found records of him saying it's a wonder of the world. And we conjecture that that wasn't bombastic enough for the press at the time.
Yeah.
So they added that eighth wonder of the world to it to make it a larger story, more popular, something that sells more papers. But we have found no actual records of him saying that. It is truly a wonder of the world, possibly the eighth wonder of the world, but that's all we can really attribute to Teddy Roosevelt is it's a wonder of the world. And it's
So,
true.
what is it about the waterfalls then that would cause someone to have that kind of reaction? Because even calling it a wonder of the world is, quite a bit of hyperbole, unless it really truly is. So, what is it?
It truly is. First of all, we have two different waterfalls happening at the same time. We have the water cascading over the top in two giant cataracts, 130 feet tall, into the falls pool. And then we also have a wall of water where water is coming out of the actual wall on either side of the two main falls, about 70 feet up, so about halfway up. And it's very rare for waterfalls to have both of those things happening at the
Mm.
same time. Practically every other waterfall in the world is one or the other, but this one is both. So that's one part of the waterfall. It cascades into this beautiful canyon, nice and cool. It gets up to 110 degrees here in the summertime. That canyon, because of the mist and how dry the air is 20 plus degrees cooler than the surrounding area. So that's an awesome place to be in the summertime. And also, this waterfall does not slow down. That's perhaps the most amazing thing. You can come in the springtime, summer, fall, No rain for months. The waterfall bottoms out at about 100 million gallons of water each day, every day of the year, at least.
That's
Most
crazy.
waterfalls in California spend the summer getting smaller. This
Hmm.
one does not.
Yeah, Yosemite Falls being a prime example of that.
Yep.
By
Exactly.
August this year, it'll just be a trickle. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
wow. Okay. And so, as I understand from my prior visit to the park, part of that, and maybe that's the wall part of it, is spring fed. Is that where that comes from?
Actually, this time of year, the entire waterfall is spring fed.
Okay.
There is a layer of basalt lava rock that came from Mount Burney about 20 miles from here, a tabletop. And that about 70 feet thick here, getting thicker as it gets closer to the source, the mountain, Burney Mountain. And it has all these holes and cracks in it from outgassing and from cooling and shrinking. And so acts like a sponge and a dam. So all of the water that falls in the area, all the snow that melts, goes into that underground aquifer and slowly makes its way through until it comes out at the waterfall. Now, if there's a whole lot of water, it'll also flow across the very top.
Yeah.
The creek connects all the way back to the springs on the other side of Burney Mountain. But right now, that water table has dropped beneath the surface of that lava rock. So a mile upstream, the creek, and further upstream, the creek bed is dry. This is all spring water feeding both the water coming out of the wall and the water going over the top. It starts out as a trickle at the headwaters pool. That's a kind of a warm mud hole, just perfect for turtles and frogs and that sort of thing. And then as it makes its way to the waterfall in a mile, thousands of springs beneath the surface of the creek feed it. So it gets larger and larger and larger until you have what you have going over the top.
I got
Truly a wonder of the world. What I see all the time from visitors coming to the park for the first time is they will stand and they will go like this. They just want to just bring it all in, bring it into my chest, my belly. Let me carry this home with me, this experience. It is a very powerful, sacred spot, obvious to anyone who comes and visits it. It's a truly amazing waterfall. And that underground aquifer, that rock is an excellent insulator. So the water comes out of the wall about 43 degrees, 45
It's
degrees
cold.
year round. Colder than the air in the summertime, but warmer than the air in the wintertime. So that canyon has a regulated temperature year
Okay.
round. So animals and plants can live in that canyon of the falls that could not live up top because it's too cold or too hot up top.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I guess it is a wonder, Don.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes total sense, and what an amazing aquifer, the size of that aquifer
Yeah.
put out that much water. That's incredible. In California, really, really, truly incredible. Okay,
Yeah.
now I
I
get
tell people, I tell people there's a lake's worth of water in that rock making its way here. 5 years worth of water at least.
yeah.
That's
Wow.
insane.
Okay. Alright.
All right. So, moving on, we understand that due to the sheer volume of people that have been coming to the park over the last, several years, that there's been some damage to the park and the trails, and there might be some closed trails that are going through repair right now. Could you tell us a bit about this and which trails might be affected? What are the best practices? Are there alternative hiking trails we could go on?
Yeah, we've got about 10 miles of trails in the park, 8 to 10 miles of trails in the park, as well as the Pacific Crest Trail. So you have to add another 2,700 miles of trails available through the park itself. The trails that are closed are the Lower Creek Trail, the trail that goes from
Mm-hmm.
Rainbow Bridge downstream from the falls down to the lake. The issue with that is, and also across the creek, we have the PSEA trail that goes down to the Public Service Employees Association camp, PG&E associated camp. And both of
Hmm.
those trails at the bottom of the canyon going down the creek travel over this material called diatomaceous earth. It's very soft, white, chalky material, and it is very hard to engineer trails that last with that material. So there are some plans that involve like maybe rerouting the trails away from that, or maybe putting in piers on the water so people walk on the water so that they're not trampling that very soft, chalky material, but nothing has truly materialized. So those two trails are closed because of erosion. Trees also fall very easily on that material because
Hmm.
it's so soft. So we have not been able to open those trails in many years, and I'm not sure when we'll be able to open those. But we do have the Upper Creek Trail, a 2 mile loop. We've got the rim trail that goes down to the lake instead on top of the canyon, about a mile and a half. We have the Pioneer Cemetery Trail that goes to a genuine pioneer cemetery in a little cove on the lake, about a mile and a half. And again, the Pacific Crest Trail, all the walking you could ever possibly want to do.
Yeah. All
Now
right.
we want everybody to, because of all of those feet on the ground, we definitely want people to stay on the trails, be respectful of the plants and
Mhm.
wildlife and other people in the park. Everything is protected here in the park because it's a canyon. Erosion happens pretty rapidly, water and wind and wash stuff down. And the thing that holds the stuff to the ground and keeping erosion to a minimum are the plants and the duff that's on the ground. And anybody who walks off the trail to go like up the canyon to make a shortcut, they're going to trample the plants, they're going to move the duff. So it's very obvious where anybody goes off the trail. So we really want people to stay on the trail to keep the erosion to a minimum. We actually had to close the trail down to the base of the falls a couple of years ago because the bottom section had been undercut by erosion started by people walking off the trail.
Okay.
That's a real challenge for us to continue educating that and helping people take care of the park because the MacArthurs, when they donated the park, said they wanted this to belong to the people of California in perpetuity forever. So that
Yeah.
means having to plan and make sure that people are engaged and involved with the protection of the park. That's a serious thing that state parks has adopted for its way that it wants parks to be treated as well. They started it out. They were very visionary.
Yeah. So I think I mentioned at the beginning, Jen and I are familiar with the park, but besides the waterfalls, what else attracts people to the park? Yeah, we said camping. I know that
Mhm,
there's a lake there,
mhm.
and talked about trails, and I'm pretty sure you guys have a visitor center there as well.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, we have a wonderful visitor center. It's actually the old store was recycled into a fantastic visitor center with a viewing room and lots of great hands-on activities for people and kids to run around and play around with. Excellent interpretive displays on it. We've been
They're
complimented
really well done.
many times by teachers, other interpreters, educators that it is a superlative visitor center. We have the camp store and we have a campfire center for campfire programs and s'mores and sing-alongs on the weekends. And we have all those nice trails. We have the waterfall, of course. And then at the end of Burney Creek, it empties out into Lake Britain. It is a reservoir called Lake Britain, but it is a beautiful water feature with all kinds of water recreation, swimming, boating, picnicking, great picnic area down there. We've got at least 7 pairs of bald eagles on the lake. So bald eagles and osprey are always catching fish in the water. Just a beautiful, beautiful thing inside the park. And then outside of the park, we have all these other things for people to go and see and do. So we're what is known as a destination campground. People usually don't come to camp and then go on their way to someplace else. People come to the park to stay because there's so much to do both in the park and outside the park. We have families that have been coming to the park for generations. This is a venerable park that has a true following and affects
Yeah.
people very profoundly. People that come here will come back. It's such a great park.
Yeah, and Shasta County, that part of Shasta County, all parts of Shasta County really are just absolutely stunningly beautiful. So,
Agreed.
yeah, you live in a wonderful part of the world for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So we kind of touched on this a minute ago, but one of the things you mentioned that I've been camping here quite a few times. My husband started taking me after we were married. I had never been this far north in California before, and I was blown away. One of the things that my husband and I, our family, have enjoyed in the past are your interpretive programs, Marlon, that you've presented. You have the Junior Ranger program and you have wonderful campfire programs. I have to tell you, my kids still sing Home on the Range because of you all the time. All of the time. They're like, okay, I'm gonna go sing that song. I'm like, great. But what kind of family friendly programs do you have on offer for this summer? What can people expect?
Well, just Friday, we had an art in the park watercolor demonstration and
Cool.
practice that was open to the public. That was really nice that we try to do a couple times a year. I also have different crafting programs that I tend to give out regularly, origami, friendship bracelets, nature journals, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Sing-alongs, like I mentioned before, we've done some sing-alongs, campfire programs, lots of junior ranger programs. Lots of junior rangers like to come to the park.
Yes.
We also have this thing in our newsletter called the Discovery Quest, where if a person goes around the park and gets the answer to these 14 or 15 questions, they can
Hmm.
earn a patch that has a picture of the waterfall on it. And that's a great program as well.
I forgot about that. My kids, we do it every time, and we have every for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, you go through this quest and you earn a patch, and the thread color around the patch changes every year, and it has the year that you did it. And so we have quite the collection now.
I have a preview
Ooh,
of next year's
Nice.
patch, 100th year
that one's
anniversary,
pretty.
nighttime scene.
I
Wow.
like it. Now
That
I
is
have
a
something.
nice
We're gonna have to
patch.
earn that one.
Uh-huh.
That
It's
is.
a collector's item for sure. I'm very proud of that patch. And our patches go through the rainbow of colors, right? Because another thing about the falls, why it's a wonder of the world, every morning the sun hits the mist from the falls, there is a rainbow. Every morning in the summertime.
So you had mentioned that most people use Burney Falls as a base camp. So
Yes.
what other things outside the park are interesting for people to check out?
Well, let me start out with Lassen National Park. It is an
Mhm.
amazing, beautiful, huge park,
I love
including
it.
a dormant volcano that erupted a little over 100 years ago. So, most recently, one of the most recent eruptions in the continental United States, actually. Beautiful, wonderful park. One of the challenges with that park, though, is the road that goes up through the park goes up to about 8,500 feet in elevation. So it takes a long time for that to clear out, usually not until mid June or even early July, because it gets up to like 50 feet of snow. So it takes a long time for that road to clear out. But people can go into the park to the Loomis Museum and Lake Manzanita and explore that even before that road clears all the way through. So that's a wonderful place to go see. Halfway between here and there, we've got the Subway Cave, a great first cave for people who've never been in a
Oh,
cave.
yeah.
It's got nice high ceilings, so you're not gonna bump your head, no side passages to get lost. It's not huge, it's only maybe a quarter mile long. It
Yeah.
is pitch black. It will give you the cave experience to find out if caving is for you or it's something that you're going to obsess over. And then we can direct you up to Lava Beds National Monument a couple of hours from here, which has literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lava tubes.
Yeah.
People are discovering more lava tubes in that area every single year. Great
That's
thing to go see.
Yeah.
yeah.
You've got Mount Shasta and Mount Shasta City, a very beautiful, powerful mountain about an hour north of here. Halfway between here and Mount Shasta is the McLeod River Falls, 3 waterfalls on 2 miles of river. That is the place where you can go into the water
Mhm.
and there's lots of swimming holes at the falls. The sacred pool at the base of Burney Falls has no swimming. It does. We
Mhm.
don't want people to swim in it at all. It's dangerous water. It's sensitive water, and it's sacred water. So we want people to go to Lake Britain to go swim. We've imported tons of sand down there, so that's a nice swimming area, and the
It
water
is.
isn't going to present a hazard, unlike the pool of the falls itself, which is cold and
Yeah, it's cold and
corrosive.
fast.
So yes,
Yeah.
don't swim there, but go swim down at Lake Britain, just a mile.
Or McLeod. McLeod has
McLeod
great
River, yeah,
swimming holes
yeah,
like you
and
mentioned.
that has the place if you wanna swim near a waterfall, that is the place to go. And near Fall so that is to the north, that is to the south. To the east of us, we have, Fall River Mills, my hometown, which has the Fort Crook Museum, a public for just a local funded and ran museum that, contains quite a bit of history. Lots of families have donated their pioneering materials to that museum. Lots of great buildings there. Beautiful, beautiful place to go visit. My wife used to be the curator there. And then to the west, we've got some nice sights to see. Let's see, Potom Falls is also on the way there. That's a little out of the way, but there's just lots of nice things to see. The town of Burney itself has some nice shops in it. We encourage people that are in the park to go visit Burney and kind of support those businesses there. That's where a lot of the money comes from for the town is
Yeah.
the tourism of Northeastern California. And all of Northeastern California is just amazing. You can just take practically any Forest Service road. We've got Shasta Trinity National Forest to the north of us, and then we've got Lassen National Forest to the south of us. So there is near infinite recreation that you can do in those national
There
forests. So there is just tons and tons and tons of stuff to do in the
and
area.
there's so much to see. You barely even scratch the surface. A lot of these back roads have some pretty unique, interesting stuff. There's some cool stuff to see back there. One of the most beautiful and unique California state parks is relatively close to Burney Falls. Would you talk a little bit about Ahjumawi Lava Springs State Park and what makes it so special?
Sure, we like to think of it as our sister park. It actually has an aquifer very similar to Burney Falls, but it drains an even larger area that doesn't get quite as much rainfall as Burney Falls does. The water comes out of the ground. The name itself, Ahjumawi, means where the waters meet. It's also the name of one of the bands of the Pit River Nation, the indigenous people that have lived in the area since time immemorial and still consider the area to be theirs to care for. It Ahjumawi State Park has been part of their culture as long as anybody can remember, even longer, with lots of features in the park itself talking about how they fished and used the resources that are available in the area. So it has a venerable history of human inhabitation that goes back thousands and thousands of years. It's also one of the most pristine state parks. There's
Hmm.
not very much infrastructure in the park itself,
No, there's not.
which makes it easy to go there and imagine that you have stepped back a few thousand years because you look in a lot of directions from practically any point in the park. You're just seeing nature, nature only, no telephone poles, no buildings, no structures. We've got three campgrounds with three sites each, and it is a boat in only park as well.
Yes.
You have to have a boat to get into this park. There is no way to cross the land in car or on foot to get into that park itself, which means that it's relatively little used. So there's very little
Hmm.
impact of people at the parks. Again, that stays in this pristine natural state that you just don't find anywhere else in parks because it's so little used and so tricky to kind of get into. Just gorgeous. There's lava fields, lava tubes. Those are caves that are created by a lava flow. The outside cools and hardens. The inside stays hot and molten and flows away, leaving behind a cave. There's those. Just lots of springs coming out of the ground itself, which are great spawning grounds for different fish, suckerfish, trout, etc. So there's great fishing at the park itself. But mostly, what is there is the feel of being kind of between history, outside of history.
That's exactly, you're not in when you go there, you are not in the present day. When you
No,
put your vessel on that water, it's you and Mount Shasta and the water, and that's it. And it's gorgeous. Yeah, it's one of our favorite spots.
sacred place, obviously. I mean, you feel it when you're there. This is a very beautiful, important place. A culture based itself entirely on that place. So yeah, wonderful to be there. Really nice place.
I have never been, and now I definitely wanna go.
You
That
should.
sounds wonderful. So you had talked a little bit about Lake Brenton and bringing sand down there and it being a beautiful lake. What kind of facilities are there? What kind of recreational opportunities do people have at the lake?
Sure. Concessionaire has boat rentals, so there are motor boats and paddle boats and water paddle, wheel foot
Yeah,
footy paddle boats,
Yeah.
human
cruise
powered.
kayaks. Yep, all sorts of boating you can rent there, and there's also a boat launch ramp, so you can bring those larger boats and launch there. It is a concrete pad, so they can handle some pretty large boats on the lake. The lake
Yeah.
itself is not too wide, only maybe a mile or so wide, but it is about 9 miles long. So there's quite a bit of water recreation, finding little coves that you can enjoy, or water skiing is also something very popular there. So boating is definitely part of it. There's good fishing in the lake itself. It is an excellent warm water fishery. So smallmouth bass, crappie, bluegill, good fishing there. And if you are trolling at the bottom of the lake, which is a basically a canyon. Lake Breton Dam is holding the water back. But if you find where that center channel is, where all of the coldest water sinks down to, there are some enormous brown trout down there. In fact, one of the largest brown trout ever found was found by our ranger, Bob Davis, and there's a picture of him holding it up, and it is about from the ground up to his hip. Would have possibly been one of the largest brown trout caught if someone had caught it, but it had just washed up on the shore and the eagles were eating it when he came across it and took that picture of him holding it up. So we've got the fishing, we've got boating, we've got animal watching. There are about 280 different species of birds that can be found in the park. Most of them are migratory, flying over from Canada to South America, those things. But the lake itself is one of their stopovers. So, depending upon what time of year, there can be an enormous number of different kinds of migratory birds on the lake. So, there's animal watching. We've got the swimming down there, hiking on the trails, lots of stuff to do. Lots of
Lots of
stuff.
stuff.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
I love parks like that that have so many different opportunities for people to do the thing that they want to do, especially for families. I mean,
Mhm.
we
Family
try to
friendly.
orient our podcast here toward families, and it's nice when we find a park where you can
It
do
checks all the
everything for your
boxes.
Yep, yeah,
Truly does.
Yeah.
Truly does. Yeah.
outstanding.
All right, well, here are a few of the basic facts from McAuthur-Burney Falls Memorial State Park. The park entrance is located on Highway 89, about 65 miles northeast of Reading via Highway 299, and is about 6 miles north of the town of Burney. The park is open year-round, with day use available 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to sunset. The day use fee is $10 per car. Campsites and cabins are available for a fee and should be reserved in advance. Remember that reservations are required for day use on weekends and holidays this summer. Marlon, what will be the cutoff date for the day use reservation?
That's a great question. I'm going to say roundabouts middle of September. I don't know if we
Okay.
have a specific date, but that is our generally our busy season, which is middle of May to the middle of September.
Okay. There are discounts for seniors and some state park passes are accepted. Be sure to check their website for the most up-to-date information about the new reservation system and any other details for your trip.
Yeah. Marlon, I cannot thank you enough for coming on a Rogue Ranger Radio with us today. It's really great to meet you. I've heard a lot about you, and it
Cool.
always
Thanks.
talks about whenever we're talking about Burney Falls. She always talks about you and their experience there. It's really great to have more background on Burney Falls as well, because both of us have been there, but we always learn something new. So, as
Yeah.
always, we're going to put your web links in our show notes.
Go ahead,
Thank you.
Marlon.
Yeah, if I may add just one thing, I wanted to say that to make the day use reservations, you just go to parks.ca.gov, look at McAuthur-Burney Falls Memorial State Park. Just below those first blurbs, there it says right there, the tab, day use reservations. And I believe that's also where you can make the camping reservations. But a
It
lot of
is
people
Okay.
are asking, how do we make those day use reservations? And that is how.
perfect. Perfect.
So, today we looked at Burney Falls for some fun areas to explore and got some important information about the new day use reservation requirements. Don't forget to check out the websites for the most up to date information, like we just mentioned, and bring water, sunscreen, and insect repellent just in case.
Yeah. And next time on Rogue Ranger Radio, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to take a look at one of the most beautiful places in the world that I think, and an area that is both very near and dear to Jenna and I, since we both work there. We're going to be posting some short videos at various times throughout the rest of the summer that talk about what makes Emerald Bay State Park up at Lake Tahoe so special.
All right, so subscribe and share the podcast and visit park websites and support their local foundation. And follow us on our social media for updates and bonus content, like Don just mentioned. We're on Facebook and Instagram at Rogue Ranger Radio. And if you have questions or comments, or if you want to ask us a fun fact or anything we've discussed, you can email us at roguerangerradio@gmail.com.
Yeah. Thank you so much for making Rogue Ranger Radio a part of your day. Be sure to give us a like and a review on your favorite podcast platform. It really does mean a lot to us. Also, spread the word about this podcast to everyone you know. Lastly, don't forget to check out the show notes for links to things we talked about today. Now, go out and explore the best that California has to offer.